All right, greetings Transformers. We're live here with you today. Welcome to the Transformers Academy. I'm yours truly, Dr. Angelo Reynolds Sr. And I'm excited because you're excited. When you get excited, I get excited. And likewise, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. We posted yesterday for this week's transformational vitamin, and that is programming your mind. Wow, what an interesting topic. What an interesting thing. And I want you to think about, as we're talking all this week about the possibilities that you could have, that you should have, and that you would have once you begin to refocus, reprogram your mind for success. And so why is that important? For those persons joining us, hello, thank you again. I'm Dr. Angelo Reynolds Sr. I am live with you every single day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Periscope, and we're coming to you on your phones in the broadcast, but bringing you information that you can use. Okay, I love this vitamin of the week, obviously because so dear to me. Those persons who want to join us, please feel free, and please feel free to ask questions and make comments as I'm going along, because as you all know, every broadcast comes with at least 3 things that you can do to begin to work on whatever it is, that vitamin that you've been tuned for, okay? So, all right, the question that I gave you yesterday that I posted this morning, and that what we will talk about all week is, have you tried to reprogram your mind? And I want to define, what do we mean by that? Why is that important? Why is it important to redefine or reprogram your thoughts? Let me tell you, statistically, the average person on any given day, when asked to give some positive words to say, can find 8 out of 10 negative or pessimistic things they find to say before they can come out with something positive. 8 out of 10 things that comes out of the average person's mouth before they say something positive or nice to someone, about someone, or something. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, that means that we're surrounded by negativity. We're surrounded by environments that are toxic. We're surrounded by situations that are pessimistic. And so, how can you regroup? How can you get yourself to get focused and get out of that pessimism attitude? How can you rid yourself to be involved in more optimistic thoughts, more positive reasoning and outcomes? How do you do that? Why should you do that? Well, let me tell you why. Some of you are listening, or some of you are going to watch this broadcast, and you're going to say to yourself, wow, if I could have done this, I should have done that, I would have come to this, and maybe if. And all those things are questions of things that you had control over, but your mind wasn't focused enough. And so when your mind isn't focused enough, you aren't able to reprogram anything. Once you're used to taking in the negativity, the negative viruses over and over again, it becomes part of your daily activity. And so from the time you arise in the morning, get up out of your bed, leave the house, go out into the world, go on with your daily activities, come home at night, get ready for bed, lay your head down, think about how much toxic waste or pessimistic things that you have either said, someone has said to you, or that you've heard on TV, in the media. Think about it. So it's almost a consensus that that type of information resonates and becomes a part of your body, okay? In your mind, you may subconsciously take those things in, but consciously you become aware that some of those things are resonated within you. But the question I want you to think about as we move this week is, how can I reprogram my mind to get what I want? Those of you who've gone after things, those of you who have started things but you haven't completed, those of you who have started businesses, they failed. So what? You started a project, you didn't finish. You began reading that book or writing that book on how to do these things, and you stopped. You started a weight loss program. You started a healthy eating regimen. You stopped smoking, drinking, abusing drugs. You started back. The journey became much more difficult for you, but you were not able to refocus and reprogram your mind. Why is this important? It's important because without focus, without direction of insight, you can't reprogram your mind. It's impossible. And so tonight I'm going to give you 3 things, as I always do, some things I want you to think about of how you can begin to reprogram your thoughts. That is, recondition your mind to get it to do anything that you want to do. Listen, you have control of these things. I guarantee you, if you begin to work on it, your willingness and desire to move forward with some of those things that you wanted to do, some of those goals that you set forward, will all come to fruition. Okay? All right. So let's begin. Number 1, we're talking about things that you can do to begin to reprogram your mind. Okay. Number 1, I want write these down. Please write these down, because these are so important. And I guarantee you, if you don't write them somewhere, jot them down on your phone, on a napkin, I don't care, somewhere where you can go back and listen to these things, because as I talk to you all from the Academy every day, it's not so much the vital information that we give you, but it's more about application. How are you going to apply these things to be used in your personal and professional lives? Write these things down, so important. Okay, so number 1, I'm talking about things tonight. Those persons who are joining us, I'm talking about things that you can do to begin to reprogram, condition your mind. Getting those things, those that you've sought out for so long, how are you now going to begin? Okay, number 1, what I want you to start thinking about, what I want you to do when you start to begin, I want you to begin with an ending in mind. Okay, that's a goal, but let me explain what I mean. How and why should I begin with an end in mind? See, you have to be able to see the end product. You have to be able to see yourself in something that you want to aspire to do. You have to be able to see that there is an ending when you're just beginning. You have to know that if you continue to do all these things and don't give up, the end will come to fruition. Okay, so I want you to think about beginning this process with having an ending in mind. Let me give you an example. You want to lose weight. I always use that all the time because it's easy. It doesn't point the finger. I've done it. I had to lose weight. So all that kind of stuff. So you see yourself now, you're 50 pounds overweight. I'm talking about me. This is what I was. Okay, you're 50 pounds overweight. But I could always look at old pictures of myself being 50 pounds less, 50 or even 60 pounds less. So I would go look at those pictures, join them, take a look at them, hang them up, talk to them, dream about them, but it gave me something to work for. See, this whole process of beginning to reprogram means that you have to restructure everything. It's really about how you're going to think about doing things that didn't work before. So now reprogramming means that we're going to revisit things, revise, recamp, restructure, renovate, all those things that you hear people reinventing themselves and all that kind of stuff really comes down to having to visualize a beginning to an end. Okay, number 2, I want you to become more consistent and persistent. So consistent and persistent. What do we mean by that? How should you and how can you become more persistent? Well, when I'm persistent for something, that means I'm not accepting no. That means that my skin is a little tougher with the no's. My skin is a lot tougher. The no's don't necessarily discourage me, but they encourage me to keep going. That I'm persistent until I get what I want. Why is that important in the process of reprogramming your mind? Because in the past, when you got no's, when you got turned down, when you didn't get what you want, you got discouraged. I know. Been there, done that. You got discouraged. And so the lack of persistence is going to take you back to those things. So now our whole notion of persistence is not going to allow us to become discouraged, give up, and quit. So the no's will now turn into a positive if we stay persistent, okay? So number one, begin with the end in mind. Number two, be persistent. And third, what I want you to really begin to do is I want you to stay consistent. Stay consistent. Why is consistency important? Because you can't haphazardly do this. You can't one day put all these positive things in your mind and then the next day go back to pessimism. You can't for a week put all these things that you're going to do, start working on these things, and then they go out of your mind when you get distracted. Something happens, and so you're not consistent. Consistency means every day, continuously moving forward, training your brain and your mind and staying consistent. Not one day, not the next day, not every other day, not next month, not next year, but every single day. Being consistent will get you the efforts and bring everything to fruition. I know it's a lot to consume, but all week we're going to be talking about beginning with the end in mind, being persistent, not giving up, and consistency, staying the course, staying the journey, and following through until you get what you want. Okay, I hope that I have been some help here today. As you know, I come on, you guys can send us questions, excuse me, comments. You can go to the website at drangeloreynolds.com. Go there. There's reading material for you to acquire. Also, take a look at some of our webinars, our how-to videos. Catch us on all the social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. And go to YouTube. If you want to see this video later, share it with your colleagues, with people in your organizations of how to reprogram. See, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to reprogram, if you want to grow your business, if you want to make sure that you bring business to your organizations, you got to think differently. You got to get out of the box. You got to retrain the way you were doing things and focus and be consistent. And those are the things that with consistency and persistence will bring you the fruition of things that you've been working for so long. I know that you guys are work hard. I know that you have been very diligent in what you've been trying to do because you follow me, you send comments, and you let me know what you really feel. So I'm saying to you today and the rest of this week, finding a way to reprogram your mind will take you as far as you can go. I guarantee you. Okay, if there's no questions, no comments, I'm hoping that this segment was a beacon of light that can be shed on something that you have wanted to do, something that you have desired to do, and something that you've been wanting to do for so long but have yet reached that. We try to come to you every day from the Transformers Academy and bring information that you can use both in your personal and professional lives. Okay, we make sure that this is dual learnership, that we learn from you and likewise, because education can only be in its most maximum form if it's shared information. So we appreciate you. We say thank you, and until tomorrow, the Transformers Academy will be back with you tomorrow at 7 p.m. But take those things that I've given you. Take those things of reprogramming your mind, being consistent, being persistent, beginning with an end in mind. Think about those things. And tomorrow night when we come back on the air, I want you to share your thoughts with me, your questions, so that we can dialogue together and so that we can impact the life, bring peace and joy, love one another, encourage one another, and make a difference in the world. If it's God's willing tomorrow, I'll be sure to be with you again tomorrow. Good night.